Alright, hello and welcome everybody to another set in Alchemy League, another two sets actually, that we are casting for Alchemy League today. We are already on the second sprint, if you guys can believe that. It seems like just yesterday that we began the season, but time is really flying when you're having fun. So I guess we're having a good time and keeping busy here. The two sets that we have for you today are from round 5 and round 6, respectively, of the league. We are going to first look at the Otter one versus Flying Mouse. These are both players from Germany, and our seeding program estimates that Flying Mouse is mid-1500s and that the Otter one is mid-1600s. So, about 100 ELO difference, and I think it will be a pretty competitive set. And then the second set that we're going to look at will be Ice-T, right here, versus, maybe I can zoom in on this a little bit so you can see it more easily. Ice-T versus Mr. Oso VC8. So Ice-T is over here at about almost 2K, and Mr. Oso is here at 2.3K. So Ice-T is going to have a hard time with Mr. Oso, given that Mr. Oso is known to be a generally more skilled player, but Ice-T is also a veteran of our league. He's experienced in our system and in the types of maps that we use, so you never know, he might pull off an upset. We'll have to see what happens. So Ice-T and the Otter one and Flying Mouse are all from Germany. So we have basically, and then Mr. Oso VC8, I'm not sure where he's from. I guess we'll click this and find out. I accept the cookies. He is from Mexico. Okay. So I'm not sure if I was supposed to do that, if it's officially been announced that AoE2.gg is back up. But here we go. So our sets today are courtesy of Germany, 75%, and Mexico, 25%. But Mexico's 25% is pretty darn strong. He's a tough guy. Let's take a look at the map drafts here. So we're going to see Paradise Islands and Graveyards. basically what it is, for those of you who are new, who are not experienced with Alchemy League at all, maybe you're just clicking on this video for the first time, you're like, oh, I'll give this guy a chance, whatever. Thank you, appreciate it. And in response, we'll try to answer your questions as best as we can. And one of those questions might be, how do you guys decide what maps are played? The first map is the map of the round. The map of the round in round 5 is Paradise Islands. And the map of the round in round 6 is Seasons. So we're going to get to see Paradise Islands and Seasons. The Seasons will be Ice-T versus Mr. Oso. And Paradise Islands will be the Otter one versus Flying Mouse. And then what they do is they take turns discarding maps until only one from the pool remains. And for the Otter one and Flying Mouse, that was Graveyards. And for Mr. Oso and Ice-T, it was Canals. Now, the Civilization draft, I know a lot of people make a big deal out about the Civilization draft and what the Civs are good at and stuff, but as far as I'm concerned, the maps are the star of the show, really. That and the players. But the maps are most of the theater. The Civilizations are like just a few props that are used on the stage. It's sort of the analogy. And of course, the players are the actors. So we're looking at a good show here. But nevertheless, this is the idea of some of the props that you're going to see. The admin randomly bans 5 civilizations at the beginning, and then they each globally ban 2 civilizations, so there are 9 civilizations banned, and then they have their picks among remaining civilizations. The Otter one getting Burgundians, Georgians, and Persians. Oh, and they've got a snipe too. It's like pick 2, snipe 1, and then pick 2 more, something like that. And then Flying Mouse ending up with Italians, Armenians, and Malay. For Mr. Oso versus Ice-T, we're going to see Malians, Japanese, and potentially Chinese from Mr. Oso. And Ice-T has at his disposal the Byzantines, the Bengalis, and the Dravidians. So I'll keep these drafts up in case we want to go over them again later. But for now, let's just get on with the show, shall we? So I'll change the overlay here, and then I will explain. Okay, let's uncheck the Fog of War. So Paradise Island, what is it? This is a map by Magico. He's a new map maker. He saw my stream and he wanted to try out map making. We really, really appreciate that. Is making a new map, for the very first time, seeing somebody stream and saying, hey, I think that's cool, I want to make a map for Alchemy League. You're certainly welcome to. We're always looking for creators. But I did help him out a lot. But he's also really busy and stuff too. So I don't want to take anything away from him. So I guess the moral of the story, what I'm trying to say is that if you have the time, creating a map for Alchemy League is a great way to learn. Now this is the new patch where arrows from non-villagers do not lame all the meat. They don't destroy the meat. So we see the Otter just shooting that rhinoceros down, and now he's able to, with his town center, and now he's able to collect the meat. So this map, the choices for the resources, and the overall structure that was made by Magico's consultation of the existing map. He looked at it and then decided this is how he wanted to do things a little bit differently. And so he put it down. But the big story with this map is that you only get 1 4-tile main gold. So it is pretty painful. You get 2 stones. You get 9 tiles of stones. And then if you're lucky, there might be like a neutral gold really far away on the map. Or a neutral stone. And it actually looked like the neutral resources slightly favor Flying Mouse on this one. There's 2 neutral resources over here. Actually, no, there's a neutral gold over here that favors the Otter. Alright, so it's a little bit more fair. Maybe we could have and should have just done away with the neutral resources and just had more player-assigned resources. It's hard to tell. I'm a big fan of neutral resources, like lots of neutral resources in small piles, so that it's harder to deny things with tower rushes and such. But regardless, the idea with having scant resources, regardless of how it's achieved, is you want players to go for these relics in the middle. There's this sanctuary. Unfortunately, Magico didn't really have time to pretty it up with all kinds of trees and stuff, but there's aesthetic benefits to this too. Like, this is a really important part of the map. Alchemy League is standard victory condition, so you can win with a relic victory, or you could win with a wonder victory. Because why would we limit the number of ways to win? Why would we do that? So it's possible that somebody could come over here and get all the relics you know, pick up all the relics and bring them home, or build the monastery on the island. Whatever's necessary. Otter's gonna kill that. Right, he's really enjoying this this no laming thing. Anyway, you can get all the relics and start a countdown. Potentially win that way, or you can just destroy your opponent. That works too. This is called the Sanctuary, and this is called the lagoon around the Sanctuary. This is the lagoon here. Also a little bit scarce of vegetation and such. Would have been cool to see this as more like an oasis kind of thing. Well, either way though, here's the Sanctuary, and the lack of gold on the map is an incentive to go after these relics. Nobody would go for these relics if there were like gold piles everywhere all over the map. So that's the idea. There is fish on the outside. You can dock out here. You have to be careful. As you can see, Flying Mouse's villager is injured. He probably used his scout to help fight this lion, and then he was able to build the dock. So you generally can dock, but you just got to be careful. Looks like the otter, the otter one fought a couple of lions over here. This villager's almost dead, but he somehow manages to keep her alive. We didn't see that, but I can only imagine that it was an interesting story. All right, so anyway, so the otter one's got a villager out here fishing, and they both have built docks. Flying Mouse could spot this villager and doink it. Oh, the otter one saves it. He does the quick wall just in time. So now Flying Mouse is going to try to get in. The otter one's got to finish the palisade wall. And now Flying Mouse gives up. Well, that was almost a really tasty morsel there for Flying Mouse. A single doink would have killed her. Oh well. Flying Mouse is definitely the underdog here. Let's talk about civilizations. So we got Italians versus Burgundians. I've seen Burgundians on this map before. I think they're popular because Burgundians have an early power spike. You know, like they get the Cavaliers in Castle Age. They get the eco bonuses sooner. It just feels like you don't have to go eco as the Burgundians here. You can sort of prioritize maybe just a few eco bonuses and have a relatively good eco in Castle Age, and then make a bunch of Cavaliers. But other than that, I don't really know why they're so popular. Italians make a lot of sense. I mean, it's naval combat. Italians have great monks. Burgundians have decent monks too, actually. So, you know, we'll see what ends up happening here. I can't really predict what these players are going to do. The otter one does like making monks. I taught the otter one how to make monks, and now he's 200 elo higher. Congratulations, otter. No, I'm just kidding. I had nothing to do with it. But I did teach the otter one about the beauty of monks, and now he likes to use them. And it sort of only makes sense that the otter one likes to use monks. He's probably not going to be making cavalry archers. Oh no, I'm sorry. The otter one is Burgundians. Well, never mind then. The otter one is Burgundians, and the Flying Mouse is Italians. I got that mixed up. Well, he can still make monks. Oh, what is this? What is this? Flying Mouse getting a villager pick-off, getting up to the feudal age quickly as a What? Okay, there we go. He did pick off the villager, and we've got a couple of militia coming forward. 3 militia. I believe this is man-at-arms. Okay, guys, the action is starting to pick up, so I really should not ramble too much. Yeah, it's man-at-arms here, and the reason that aggression like this works on this map is because it is relatively open and has scant resources to defend. So now the Flying Mouse is going to try to block Otter's villager, and he gets a second villager kill, and I think he's going to get a third. Yep. So that's 3 villagers down from the Otter one, all to build a barracks of his own and a house wall. I guess he wanted to secure this other side of his wood line, but now he's not going to be able to. So he's going to kind of wall off this gold mine here and build an archery range. Flying Mouse with a very commanding position in this game. I was going to say, though, the Otter one loves to micro. He loves cavalry archers. So it only makes sense that he would like monks, too. Flying Mouse, I don't really know as much about his style. It seems like he's got some good early game aggression. He likes to make man-at-arms. That's what I know about him so far. What's this? Alright, this is a house wall. Better be careful. Yeah, he almost lost the house there. So Italians are nice on this map because they can get up early. Advancement is 10% cheaper or something like that for them. It costs them, I think, 440 food to get up to the feudal age instead of the usual 500. So it's definitely a a benefit for early aggression if you're playing as the Italians, but I don't know what Mouse is doing. Okay, all right, there he goes. He's just microing some man-at-arms, and now he's gonna... Shouldn't send this weak guy so far away from home. Anyway, he's gonna build a second lumber camp. He could probably also long-distance those deer. There's a lot of stuff going on. It seems that Flying Mouse is also interested in building a fire galley to sink the Otter One's fishing ships. The Otter One has gotten an archer out. Flying Mouse making an archer of his own. So I think Flying Mouse doing some sort of man-at-arms into archers build. And he's keeping the man-at-arms handy in case he sees skirmishers. Ooh, should not be shooting at the skirmisher, though. Oh, well. That's fine. There's another thing I wanted to add about this map. And that is that these transport ships are invincible. I mean, you can destroy them, and it will kill everything inside, but then they instantly respawn. These transport ships are intended to give access to the sanctuary. It's the only way to access the sanctuary, actually. This lagoon is undockable. No resources in here anyway to take, but you can't even build a dock and make ships or anything like that. Alright, looks like the Otter One is getting a little confident. He's coming out across the map now. I don't think he's going to shoot that deer. I think that's his deer. He's going to look for a raid on Flying Mouse. Can the Otter One turn this around? That's what I want to know. Alright, so Flying Mouse deciding that he's going to go after this lumber camp now. He's got the man-at-arms working on the palisade, and he's got a few ranged units here, but they're not focusing on the villagers. They need to attack the villagers. Alright, so he sees it now, and now he's hurling some lances and arrows into these villagers, so they will go down behind that wall. But the Otter One is also... Oh! He has not found Flying Mouse's eco yet. He's busy microing at home. Flying Mouse building a mill for those 2 deer. I'm not sure that's worth it, but he needs... Oh, he's already got a mill, so I don't know. I don't agree with that, with this mill here. But he might be thinking it's a good spot to build farms later on. Alright, so Otter finally evacuating. I think this man-at-arms might go down. He's got to garrison him in the town center to heal him up. If he makes it, he probably won't make it. Flying Mouse turning back. He's spotted these archers now, so I guess he's going to go address them. I think. I don't know. We're loitering a little bit. Let's take a look at the Otter One's resources. Oh, actually I can click on this banner here. There we go. It's supposed to tell me about what they're producing. And I can click on this banner to see villager counts. We can see Flying Mouse has a massive villager count over the Otter One. It's about to lose a villager, though, to these archers, and decides it's not worth it to fight them. So he's heading off. The archers are in hot pursuit. He's got his scout, he's got some archers, and he's got a really AI army here. The Otter One, nah, I would just run. I don't think he can... He can't pick off any additional villagers. He might be able to pick off this one. Or man-at-arms. If he's looking for it. He's not. He's just hightailing it out of there. But he's got reinforcements coming. So the Otter One coming back with four archers. And this could actually hurt. Like 4 archers will kill a villager in a few volleys. So if it's focused. So Flying Mouse needs to be careful. This lady's going off. She's probably going to die. Yep. Otter One getting that villager. And now he's coming around looking for some more. Oh, Flying Mouse is building a demolition... Oh, I see. Alright, there's a naval battle going on. And Flying Mouse is going to attack those fire ships. He's also over here, too. Figures that the demo is a good way to slam these fire ships, particularly if they're bunched up like they just were, but they're separating. Otter cleverly separating them. And so now there's a fire ship over here that's just going to sink some fishing ships. Alright, Flying Mouse regrouping. The Otter One has managed to close the villager gap to only 4 now. Only a 4 villager disadvantage. Both players are on their way up to the Castle Age. Flying Mouse being about halfway up, and the Otter One being about a third of the way up. So they're going to be up to the Castle Age within a few seconds of each other. Flying Mouse, is he going to push in and look for trouble? He doesn't really have a decisive numbers advantage, but he's building another archery range. So what You know, what is this? Is this... I guess he's just going to go Italian archers, and lots of them. The otter one is the Burgundians. He is fashioning a stable. It makes a lot of sense. I think, you know, Cavaliers are sort of the plan here. He does get the upgrade. Let's take a look at the otter one's resources. He's doing a good job spending his resources. As you can see, he's getting the cavalry armor, the first cavalry armor upgrade. I think he's going to need at least one more stable, though. I think he should cancel this house right here, and cancel this house and build a stable, and then build one more house. Although these lions are gonna be messing with him. He's trying to zone off this area. He's got the town center garrison, and he sort of has a box here. And he's got enough buildings over here to know if Flying Mouse comes this way. So I don't know that Flying Mouse is going to do that. I think Flying Mouse is just going for a brute force approach. He's building a market now that he's in Castle Age to stabilize his economy a little bit better. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a forward siege workshop from Flying Mouse. Yeah, look at this. He's getting crossbowmen. He hasn't really used his transport ship at all. I suppose he could now to get away from all these. Nope. Just going to shoot down the... Oh, no, there. Go. I don't know what that was. If that was just there to confuse the archers or what. Otter trading really well, actually, against these crossbows. Trying to take as much of their health away as possible. And he kills like half of them with that exchange with his feudal age units, which was really good for him, because if these crossbows get in higher numbers, he's gonna, you know, he's not committing to archers, so he's only going to be more and more outnumbered. Otter has built that second stable that we expected. And let's see, villager difference is significant. You know, it's basically Flying Mouse has 7 more villagers than the otter one. My mental math is correct. Now 8. So Otter's got to be careful here, and he's got to choose his fights. He's got... Okay, the knights have +2. That's pretty tanky. They should be able to do some damage, but I would still wait until you get more of them. But I think he feels like he needs to keep this gold safe, because if he loses the gold, it's over. So yeah, he just wanted to keep Flying Mouse from coming up here and denying this gold with his archers. I don't know if the otter one, if it's in the budget for the otter one to build a siege workshop. Flying Mouse has built the forward siege workshop we expected. He's going to begin laying siege to this town center. And Flying Mouse, I think, is starting to realize that Otter is just trying to keep him away from the gold. Yeah, and now Otter has to get out of there. Otter has roughly about the same number of knights here. And there's a monk from Flying Mouse, so if Otter is smart, he'll target that monk first. Nope. Flying Mouse getting conversion on a full HP knight. That's pretty good for him. I think it's pretty close to GG for the Otter one. Flying Mouse is in. He's got 2 man-at-arms. He's got a knight. Maybe, you know, maybe the Otter one could have gotten on stone. The Otter one is heavily on wood right now. I don't really know that he's spending it. And yeah, the Otter one calls the GG. And Flying Mouse is victorious. Flying Mouse had just landed to build a monastery, but with his gold fully denied and no opportunity to really take resources, it didn't really make sense to continue. So Flying Mouse with a win over the Otter one on this map. Statistics. Flying Mouse played really well. He killed more units than he lost. Neither player lost a single building. Wow. Very aggressive map when somebody wins without destroying a single building. Flying Mouse converted 1 unit, and it was a knight. Flying Mouse with more food, the Otter one with more wood. Probably should have been the other way around for the Otter one. And Flying Mouse with more gold. Roughly same exploration, same research count. Flying Mouse with 51 villagers to Otter's maximum villager count of 40. So now we see game 2 on graveyards. Yes. Alright. Well, it looks like it's going to work. So Graveyards was made by Jasuki for Alchemy League Season 7. It is a remastered version of the original Ensemble Studios Graveyards. It has a number of plateaux here with different religious symbiology on them. They've got some graves. They've got some shrines. They've got some little church things. They have sometimes relics, sometimes a little priest standing there. So the idea is you go around to all these different highlands around your starting location, and you collect the relics. But there's also a little pond in the center. And I personally think that this pond has too much fish in it. Seems like this pond people are really fighting very hard for this pond. Maybe a little bit too much. But it was not really possible to predict that starting out. Looks like we have some apes here. The game calls them monkeys, but monkeys have tails. So that's technically not correct. These are old world apes because they lack tails. There's actually a hero cheat unit in Age of Empires called Furious the Monkey Boy. He's a version of these monkeys, or so-called monkeys, that deals like 99 damage per hit. It's very effective against buildings. Alright, so the outer one is playing as the Yellow Persians, and Flying Mouse is playing as the Blue Armenians. So Armenians with that mule cart. Mule carts, they seem to be very unfair. Very, very powerful, the mule carts are. So Persians we all know about. Persians, a classic brute force cavalry civilization. They go back all the way to the Age of Kings. Armenians are a relatively new civilization. It's like Flying Mouse and the Otter one taking some fights here, but the Otter one does not have a hill advantage, even though it may look that way. So I think Flying Mouse is going to win this fight, but he bails anyway. Oh, he bails so that he can get his villager to help out. And now he's definitely winning. So Flying Mouse managing to kill the Otter one's scout. That hurts. So I don't know that the Otter one has a good understanding. The Otter one has no understanding. He has no idea where Flying Mouse is. He could probably guess that Flying Mouse is somewhere up here, based on where the dock is located, like the clocking of the dock around this round little pond in the center. The pond is kind of the focus of attention. So we've got some red snappers here living in very polluted waters. Yikes. Yeah. Very yellow polluted waters. It was nice. Each of the ES maps were required to satisfy at least 5 different biomes unless exception was specifically granted. So on a map like Team Glaciers, there was not a requirement to have 5 different biomes because it's a glacier. It has to be cold. But he's got several different variations of this, and this is an African theme. He's got a jungle theme. He's got a Mediterranean theme. He's got all kinds of themes. It's quite nice, actually. Jasuki, Colombian, currently living in Spain, did a nice job on this map. So let's talk about strategies here. I mean, I don't think the Otter one is... Oh my goodness. What is this? This is a pretty weird wall-off choice, if you want to know the truth. I guess the Outer one is kind of just walling to his town center. He's walling to the edge of the map here. And he's presumably going to wall this here. I think he could have just walled a circular area, and probably spent roughly the same amount of wood, but this is fine. He's got his resources that he needs. He's got his gold back here. He knows about that gold. He knows about the stone. He's actually got 2 golds back here. So he's got resources. He's the Persians. The Persians are a relatively easy civilization to play. They start with a little bit of extra food, a little bit of extra wood, and their town center works just a little bit faster. So everything economically is just a little bit better for the Persians. And the Armenians, don't know much about them because I don't have the DLC. But we can check real quick. Their mule cards, yeah. So this is an economic bonus. The first fortified church receives a free relic. This is a BS bonus right here. It's like somebody put 0 thought into that bonus at all. Barracks units except man-at-arms are available 1 age earlier. Galley and Drummond lines fire an extra projectile, and they get an archer that ignores armor. So they got some. They're mostly an infantry civilization. So I think late game, Flying Mouse has a big advantage here. If he can boom up, and he can, especially at this map is sort of a closed map. It's thickly forested. It's a lot about relic control too. The relics, I think they're somewhat in favor of the otter one, if you want to know the truth on this map. It looks like they're mostly toward, well, there's a couple up here. Lots of relics on the map, right? It's graveyards. This was Jasuki's take on it. I also want to thump my chest a little bit and take credit for the fact that we have Ensemble Studios maps in the current ranked map pool for Age of Empires. That's right, you heard that right. What I believe that what we did with remastering the Ensemble Studios map pack inspired the developers to remaster the Ensemble Studios maps and release it into the game with the latest update, and then put some ranked games on those maps. We had a number. I think we gave them ideas. I think some things the official developers did better than we did for this map pack. And I'm not going to say what, because that could be controversial depending on, who made the various maps and such. But I also think that we did a better job on some of our maps than the developers did. And by the developers, I mean basically Crazini. Crazini is the dev that does their random map scripting and adds new maps to their standard pool and everything like that. A very talented map maker, for sure. But we did some stuff better than Crazini did, and Crazini did some better stuff than we did. And it's really fun to just see different people's interpretations of the different maps. What they look at the map and what they see as important, and what they emphasize. This map right here, the emphasis is more so on water. I think that the reworked version of Graveyards, the emphasis is not on water. The emphasis is more so on relics. I don't think the original version had small ponds in it, but the problem with those small ponds is that they were extremely unfair. You could have a pond right next to somebody else. One of the players could get their own personal pond to dock that would have a ton of fish in it, and it was just it wasn't fair, because that dock is like having an extra town center, right? So it's like you're giving, and it's not a big deal if there's if there are ponds next to people and they have no fish in it. Because when a pond has no fish in it, then you got to build the dock, and you got to build the fishing ships, and you got to wait till feudal age, and you got to build the fish traps, and so it's much harder to get those resources. It looks like Flying Mouse is going to win the water here. So we just decided, Jasuki, the vision that he had for this is he was already doing these plateaus scattered across the map. So we thought, okay, well, sort of in the center of the map, I'm going to have this focal little pond for them to fight over. They both have the opportunity to go after this pond if they want. Flying Mouse has got a couple of weak galleys here. He sends this one back for repair, but there's no villager coming. So I guess it's just to buy time. He manages to sink those 2 fire ships from the otter one, and he's probably going to go for the final fishing ship here. He's got an eye on the otter one. The otter one may be a little bit shaken from the last game with Flying Mouse's surprising show of strength. Remember, Flying Mouse is supposed to be 100 elo lower than the otter one. And he whacked him pretty decisively with a man-at-arms rush. That aggression in feudal age won him the game, I would say. So the otter one playing cautiously, right? He's walling himself in. Doesn't really look like he's got any particular plan to make feudal age military. It looks like he just has an archery range to make a few skirmishers for defense to keep these archers off of his wood line. But it doesn't really look like he's really planning to go after Flying Mouse in the feudal age. Let's see what he's got in the dock here. He's got a couple of fire ships in the dock. So yeah, perhaps after this stream, after I've casted all the games, we'll go into the scenario editor and we'll look at their interpretation, Crazzini's interpretation of reworked Ensemble Studios maps. But regardless of whether or not you prefer Crazzini's version or whether or not you prefer the Alchemy League version, both of which have different advantages and disadvantages, I think there's no denying that this community gave that idea, right? Said, presented a vision for what the ES maps could be, and Crazzini liked some of those ideas, so he kept some of them and made some changes where he thought it was appropriate. And that's kind of cool to see the community have an impact on the ranked ladder like that. Because now, people are playing some of these remastered ideas on the ranked ladder. Even if we didn't, it's complex. If your map, let's say that you have a really good idea, right, for an Age of Empires 2 map, and you make this awesome script, and everybody loves it, and it creates a really fun experience. The devs still can't take that and use that. They have to make their own version of it. They have to make their own version of it. It's just it's for legal reasons and stuff that they have to do that. That they can't use fan work on the ranked map pool. And this isn't just an Alchemy League thing. This is just in general. My understanding is the devs cannot use fan created stuff. They have to have their own official developer version made by an employee of the company. So, if you see that there's some similar concept, or a lot of people have said that it would be a cool thing, the Otter one finally coming over here for an attack, but he's Castle Age. All right, well that explains it. But it's not personal. It's just for legal reasons they can't do that. This flying mouse, I wasn't aware there was a gap there, but I guess that's good sight. I guess there is. So flying mouse waiting until Castle Age before engaging these, even though they're really feudal age units, because everything flying mouse has here is feudal age. It's in and of itself. And there's a knight here from the Otter one. Now the Otter one being Persians, his team bonus is that knights do extra damage to archers. So maybe flying mouse is a little afraid of that. There's just a villager here just allowed to farm, which is kind of strange to me that the Otter one is just allowing this to happen. Alright, here he comes. They're going to throw some javelins. I mean, they're only skirmishers, so they're not going to do much damage. But they can at least harass the villager and prevent her from farming. Alright, so Flying Mouse, being the Armenians, has access to infantry technologies one age earlier. So he has gotten the pikeman upgrade, and he's also going Castle Age now. So in Castle Age he could actually get Halberdier if he wanted, although it would probably be too expensive for Castle Age. Just because eco grows really quickly. It's almost exponential. So Flying Mouse is more so concerned with just making sure his economy back here is safe while he gets up to the next stage. He does not want to get heavily raided by the Otter one. So villager count for the Otter one, he actually has 4 more villagers than Flying Mouse. So the Otter one is doing okay. He hasn't been damaged early on. There's a goat. Is that goat trapped against the wood line? I guess we'll never know. Flying Mouse just getting a notification that he captured the goat. Maybe he'll send it home to eat. Or maybe not. Maybe that goat is safe. Alright, so the first thing that he's doing when he reaches the Castle Age is he's going to build a fortified church, keep his economy back here a little bit safer, and it will allow him to make monks. Now, I believe that this area is actually fully walled off, so he could build a palisade gate here, make a monk, slip out, pick up some relics. Of course, because he's the Armenians, the first fortified church that he builds has a relic in it automatically. The other one making a comeback on water. And he's only got a single fishing ship, though. Flying Mouse still walking around with the same group of like 10 crossbows and 2 pikemen. The outer one has built a second town center. Let's see where Flying Mouse is at. Flying Mouse is not. He has not built in any additional town centers at all. He is, however, building... Is he building a demolition raft? Maybe hoping that Flying Mouse will come too close to the shore and look away. You never know. You never know. It's a really cheap way to instantly kill your entire opponent's army if they slip up. Alright, so Flying Mouse building a fortified church here to rain some arrows on the skirmishers. It's not much, but it's something. And is that because he's reconsidering going back onto water? I don't think so. He's building a stable now. Armenians are not exactly known for their cavalry, so I don't really know what the stable is about. Let's see what Flying Mouse's understanding of the map is. Maybe he's just building the stable to make some light cav and explore the map. Could be that that's all he wants. But I suspect something a little bit more sinister. Oh, look at this. So Flying Mouse spotting this villager train. And there's a castle drop. There's a castle drop on Flying Mouse. And Flying Mouse is not going to try to stop this. He totally should be stopping this. I think he surely has the crossbows to stop it. Just target the villagers. Be tricky to hit the villagers. There are a lot of... Oh, that's unfortunate. He's got to do a second shot. And yeah, the castle goes up. Otter sent a lot of villagers there. There were some skirmishers. I don't know. I don't think that castle should have gone up. I think Flying Mouse had enough to deny it. But castle going upping is surprisingly robust these days. Seems like it's pretty easy for castles to go up. Alright, so the outer one going to take some more stone to replace his losses from building the castle. Can't really get in this way. Castle attacking the fortified church, which is making a monk. The monk escapes out the back. And Flying Mouse is building a siege workshop now. So what's the plan for Flying Mouse? How are you going to deal with this castle? This is an annoying castle. I feel that Flying Mouse should just kind of like camp here and try to destroy some fishing ships. He's going to try to get in on the otter one, perhaps. He's going around looking for some damage. Is that monk? Oh no! The monk gets blown up by a demolition ship. I think it was going for the conversion. At least Flying Mouse knows that there's not another demolition raft coming for a while. The monk intended to heal the crossbows after their engagement with the skirmishers. I think that's what it is. So that Flying Mouse doesn't have to replenish their numbers as quickly. Or spends fewer resources doing so. Alright, there's another mangonel here. Or a mangonel in general, not another one. So what's Flying Mouse doing? I think he needs to put his foot on the gas a little bit. The otter one doesn't have as much as it looks. He built a dock to go after the otter one's fishing ships. And he's going for a conversion on that skirmisher, which is kind of a strange choice. This is just a very weird offensive here from Flying Mouse. Just a little raid with a monk following along. Helping to kill some skirmishers and some villagers, perhaps. Alright, looks like the Otter one is retreating with his skirmisher army. It's not very often that you see like somebody go Persians and just be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to raid my opponent with skirmishers. Maybe do a castle drop. There's another town center here that Flying Mouse is not seen for a little bit. Flying Mouse... It can be somewhat tough to build additional town centers on the map, given the ruggedness of the terrain. But he could build another town center up here if he knew about that area, which he does. So he could build this town center here. Alright, villager check time. So, the Otter one has 86 and the Flying Mouse has 74. And the Otter one really doubling and tripling down. He's making 2 more archery ranges to keep fabricating skirmishers. I think that Flying Mouse is due for a tech switch. I don't think archers are appropriate against Persians. I think the Persians need the good old halb and siege ram treatment. I think when your civilization... I personally don't like the Persians. I think they suck. When I was a kid, I loved them. I would be like, I'm going to make war elephants. They're the strongest unit in the entire game. And then people introduced me to monks. And I was like, oh, these elephants suck. But Persians literally get longswords. That's it. They just get longswords. So all the Armenians have to do is make siege rams, halbs, and maybe toss in a couple scorpions just to deal with the occasional infantry unit. But Persians don't really have an answer to that. There's not really anything they can do. They make bombard cannons. You could just convert them with redemption monks. Like, Armenians are a way better civ when it comes to the Imperial Age crawl. Flying Mouse is still able to take this stone here. The Otter one is Imperial Age. The Otter one boomed harder than Flying Mouse did. It's got 97 villagers to Flying Mouse's 83. Flying Mouse coming out here for this gold. The Otter one going after this mangonel with the trebuchet, which is pretty funny. Flying Mouse has a little offensive of his own going on here. This light cav is probably going to kill the mangonel before going down, though. Oh no, it gets converted. It gets converted. Now it's down to like 2 HP. Oh, I love this. Flying Mouse has made some Dromons. He's destroying this house here. And he could destroy... Wait. What the... He converted this dock. That's really funny. So now these Dromons, I believe they can reach the trebuchets and they can reach the castle. They're very slow to take down buildings. And the Otter one's going to come over here and attack the Dromon now with some light cav, which is really bizarre. Flying Mouse has a demo ready for them, though. That's funny. Flying Mouse's primary town center has been destroyed by the Otter one. The Otter one just making trash and a few trebuchets. Is the Otter one out of gold? That could be why. No, he's got plenty of gold. He's expanding. He's building a new town center. 2 new town centers, actually. Neither player has really gone after the relics at all. Flying Mouse is in the Imperial Age. He's getting Arbalister. But he's not going into pikemen, which is unfortunate. Or halberdier, I should say. Well, at least for Flying Mouse's sake, these are not knights. Knights would get even more damage. Otter has finally managed to clear out this raid. And now the attention is fully on Flying Mouse, trying to keep this castle up. Flying Mouse having a little trebuchet war, but he calls the GG. I'm not exactly sure what I think this is just wrong unit for Flying Mouse. Because the other one didn't even really mess with him too much before late Castle Age, early Imperial Age. I think Flying Mouse just made the wrong unit. Couldn't really get in, or he over-invested in the wrong unit. Maybe he didn't invest enough in the pond in the center. I don't exactly know what happened there. I just watched the whole game. Really should know. Maybe the Otter one just played really well. He did a good job of booming up without taking very much damage. But it's very weird to see the Persians just go Skirmisher. It's a strange choice, but it worked for him. Persian Eco is also just insane, though. So that could have had a big part in it. Let's take a look at the statistics. Alright, let's see here. Equal kill to death ratio. Well, that's never good if your economy is smaller, which for Flying Mouse it was. He had 2/3 of the food collected, and less wood collected as well. 1/3 the stone collected, but he did have more gold collected. Otter one with better feudal castle and Imperial Age times, having explored more of the map and having a higher research count. The Otter one with 3 castles, villager high of 105. Each captured 1 relic. And he just slowly whittled down on Flying Mouse with all those skirmishers. So let's take a look at Ice-T versus Mr. Oso VC8 now. So this is on ESR 06 Seasons. And it looks like they got the frozen version of Seasons. Ice-T is going to be disappointed to see that. But it is called out in the specification. There is a chance that this river could be entirely frozen over. That's kind of part of the map, the Seasons map. The relics are usually distributed on the river, at least 3 of them, and then each player gets 1 relic. Player-signed relic, if you will. So we have Ice-T as the yellow Byzantines. And we have Mr. Oso VC8 as the gray Persians. This map was made by Biscuits for Alchemy League Season 7. Last time Mr. Oso and the Tiger played on this map, but they played like the wrong map. They played a map that wasn't even made for the league accidentally. So I had to give them an admin penalty. But this time they played on the right map. Maybe Ice-T helped out with that a little bit because he's a veteran league player, so he was able to point Mr. Oso in the direction of the right map. Say, no, this is the one we got to play. But I think Byzantines are popular on this map because most people assume that there's a lot of water available, and the Byzantines, they can just make those fire ships and spam the fire ships and really fill up this river quite nicely. So I'm not exactly sure what Ice-T is going to do here, but I imagine he's not excited about the winter version, getting the winter version. Pushing in his deer. Chinese. Maybe Mr. Oso VC. So, you know, both of these civilizations I can imagine, like Ice-T found this and he was like, oh, it's just a river. You know, he was looking at it in the scenario editor. He only saw the river. He's like, oh, I'll make fire ships. It'll be great. I bet Mr. Oso VC8 saw this map and he saw that it was purely shallows. And so he's like, oh, Chinese would be great for the demolition ships, you know, with the extra health. I'll blow everything to Kingdom Come. And then they got a version of the map that was neither of what they were looking at. Ice-T already beginning the house wall here. Don't you hate that when the deer is stuck up against the side of the edge of the map? There we go. It's starting to move inward now. So ultra low quantity on wood for Ice-T. So this tells me that he is going scouts. He's doing like a 19 pop scouts build. And he's starting to go out on berries now. He'll probably build a mill as soon as he gets 100. As soon as he gets 100 wood, he'll build a mill. Byzantines don't get an eco bonus, but they can still do a 19 pop. Really, any civ can still do a 19 pop scouts build, as long as they push in their deer. And he is pushing these deer toward this mill, or this one at least. I think. Yeah, it'd be better to push it toward the town center. More efficient that way. Yeah, 2 villagers loom, and then he'll go up. So what's Mr. Oso VC8 doing? He is creating another villager. Uh-oh. Is he going to idle until he can go up? He's at 20 villagers. He's Chinese. And, yep, he idles a little bit. Remember, Chinese start with 3 extra villagers. So, you know, it's not dishonorable as Chinese to have a little bit of town center idle time, because they start with less food, and therefore they can't as reliably pump out villagers at the beginning, but they also start with more of them. So they end up having like a 2 villager lead in general. So Mr. Oso is going up on 20 pop, and he's got 9 on wood. He is probably also doing the scouts build, so they're probably both like mirror scouts. Ice-T doing the 19 pop scouts. Mr. Oso with a pretty aggressive barracks here. I guess he's thinking that Ice-T, there's no way Ice-T will discover that. He actually misses Ice-T's sheep. Ice-T never found these sheep. Where's Ice-T's scout? He's over here. Ooh, this is the danger. Now it's Chinese. So Chinese start with loom, but Ice-T knows that he's almost up to the feudal age. And so Mr. Oso knows that too, probably. And he smartly walls in this villager. That's a really good idea from Mr. Oso. Because otherwise, Ice-T would have reached the feudal age and attacked the villager. Actually, Mr. Oso was up first. So they're both Mr. Oso going toward Ice-T's scout, but Ice-T reaches the feudal age, and now Ice-T gets that same speed bonus that an attack that Mr. Oso got. So not really a clear winner for that fight anymore. Well, actually there is, because one has more health than the other. And, oh, it's an archery range from Ice-T. Alright, so archery range from Ice-T and a stable for Mr. Oso. So Ice-T doing some kind of lightning archer or skirmisher defense. And he's walling up. Okay, the Chinese get eco bonuses. You know, they have cheaper technologies pretty much all the time. And the Byzantines don't get that. They do get Town Watch. So we go over here to Ice-T and we toggle the Fog of War. He can see a lot. You know, he's getting Town Watch for free. And he's got a couple of spearmen out because he suspects scouts from the Chinese. And he has not made any archers or anything like that. I guess Ice-T changing his mind and deciding he doesn't want to wall all the way out there, so he's just going to build this wall instead, and he's going to wall to the edge of the map here. But he's, you know, he knows that his opponent is 200 elo higher than him, so he's and has eco bonuses, so he's getting ready to weather the storm here. So I don't think anybody would really blame Ice-T for. Okay, so there are the scouts. So he sees the scouts for the first time, and he tries to get a whack on them with the spearmen. But the scouts are coming, and the scouts are looking for a way into Ice-T's base. So Ice-T, he's got a spearman here to help him defend. He's actually going to send it out to try to slow the scouts down. And we can see this villager running along, doing a couple taps, and then he does manage to get a little bit of construction on each of these wall segments. So Mr. Oso is not able to get in, but it was close. It was within a few seconds, probably. So it just kind of goes to show that Ice-T is really happy that he didn't wall out here, because this was his original direction that he was going to wall in. And if he had done this and, you know, tried to wall around like this, Mr. Oso certainly would have gotten in with those scouts. And with a 2K player microing scouts around in your base for the entire feudal age, it's not a pleasant experience. And Mr. Oso with a bigger score than Ice-T. I think that's because he's explored more of the map. Kind of. It could also be just because his economy is a bit bigger. Mr. Oso has 2 more villagers than Ice-T does. So Ice-T just got these spearmen for defense. Now, Mr. Oso has got this archery range, and Ice-T is, I think, just scouted it now. Yeah, he turns back to check and make sure. So he sees an archery range with flags over it. So he knows that there's either archers or skirmishers on their way. So I wouldn't... Yep, and here it is. He queues up skirmisher. So he's getting ready for Mr. Oso to send over some more trouble. Because whatever's in that archery range is going to counter what Ice-T has made in infantry, which is just spearmen. So he's kept the scouts out. Now Mr. Oso coming over here to kill the spy says, "Hey, get out of here! Quit spying on me!" And Ice-T trying to escape. He gets away. He manages to get away. So he's going to send his spearmen out to give some help here. But this scout really can't take any more hits. In fact, the scout, if it takes one more hit, it will die. But I don't think he's able to break free. No, okay, Mr. Oso loses sight of the scout. So that's pretty important. While dodging the spearman, Mr. Oso loses sight of the spy. So now Mr. Oso himself is fully walled. You know, it's not that hard to wall on this map, really. I mean, you could wall the crossing if there were one, but the forest, you just have to wall to the forests. And it looks like he has, and he's even got this relic in here too, so that'll be a nice little goodie once he picks that up. So let's take a look at how close the players are to Castle Age. I think Mr. Oso he just has the 2 skirmishers in here, and he stopped making them, and he's actually clicking up to Castle Age now, so maybe he was trying to fake out Ice-T, you know, make him think that there was a big skirmisher attack coming. Ice-T has made 3 skirmishers himself. As Byzantines, that's basically the same cost investment, maybe a little bit less, actually. And Ice-T is not far behind Mr. Oso when it comes to clicking up to the next age. Looks like Mr. Oso trying to get in over here, so Ice-T's gonna build some house walls behind this and send the spear boy over, the pokey boy, and he is pokey. He cannot catch up to these scouts at all. They're way faster than him. Alright, Ice-T on his way up to the Castle Age as well. So Mr. Oso will be there first. I think Chinese have a pretty scary late game composition. I don't know if Ice-T wants it to get to that. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, if you're Byzantines, what do you try to make against the Chinese? And if you're the Chinese, what do you try to make against the Byzantines? Well, I think we should go first with the Chinese, right? Because the Chinese have a power unit. That power unit is the Scorpion and Chokunu kind of combination. Those units, in combination with their rocketry technology, are just super potent. You don't want to get hit by them. They ignore lots of pierce armor. They have splash through damage. It's nasty stuff. And then they can throw in siege rams and some light cav to chase down, you know, skirmishers that would counter that, or siege rams to deal with buildings. The Chinese are very tough late game to deal with. They've got a very good technology tree. The Byzantines, what do Byzantines want to make against Chinese? I think it's the same. I think Byzantines want to go into their cheap halbs and siege rams to deal with the Chinese. The Chinese are probably not going to be making infantry. So now Ice-T has to abandon this farm temporarily. He's going to build a house instead. And Mr. Oso up here denying some farming space with these skirmishers. Mr. Oso has built a second town center, and it looks like he's going out to build a third as well. So Mr. Oso is going to boom on 3 town centers. What's Ice-T going to do? He doesn't really have the resources to boom. He's spending it on other things. Oh, okay, he's got some skirmishers out here. He chases Mr. Oso off. He's able to go back and farm. He's going to add a town center. Mr. Oso has made a few knights. I don't know that Ice-T has seen those yet. And Mr. Oso making a university, probably for for fast ballistics. Probably for fast ballistics. Has either player lost a military unit yet? I don't know. I don't remember. They both have done a pretty good job of defending their stuff. Ice-T making a stable here. Maybe he wants to build a scout. Pick up on what his opponent is doing. He already does have one scout here. Maybe he figures the scouts will help him secure the relics. Or maybe he's going to make some camels because he spotted those knights. Camels could be a good investment from the Byzantines. Well, he certainly knows about the knights now. And he's going to build a town center on this forward stone, hoping that these skirmishers will delay the knights long enough. He needs to quick wall. Alright, he's got one camel out. But the skirmishers actually finish off the camel. It's a very chaotic battle. One villager does go down for Ice-T. I think this is our first major engagement. Skirmishers are having a hard time attacking the camels because they're within minimum range. Ice-T sending a camel back to deal with this knight. Ice-T losing another villager. So Ice-T is at 50 villagers and Mr. Oso is at 63. Mr. Oso also has had 3 town centers sooner than Ice-T did. So he's been able to create villagers from more town centers earlier. So Camel Skirm is a really great unit composition for Byzantines. It's especially effective against horde civilizations like the Turks, like the Spanish, like the Mongols, like the Magyars, any civilization that wants to make cavalry archers and hussars. This is fantastic. It's not quite as mobile as cavalry archer and hussar, but in general it is more powerful, as it should be, because you've sacrificed mobility for strength. And for Byzantines, these units are pretty cheap, so you're able to mass the camels quite effectively. Now, Mr. Oso, I think, is going to get a little lucky here. He's going to spot this monk going out for the relic, just as Ice-T goes out to pressure the barracks. And that monk goes down, so Ice-T, oh, just passing. Oh, here he goes. Alright, he's going to finish these guys off. That's unfortunate for Ice-T. But now, oh, look at this. There's a couple of monks coming. That Woolaloo sound is always very intimidating. So Mr. Oso has a few monks. It looks like he's picked up at least one relic. Let's see how many relics Mr. Oso has. He's got one relic. Doing the skirmisher micro dance here. Will Ice-T make some cavalry? Or some scout cavalry? Or light cavalry to deal with the monks? The camels are in low enough numbers that those monks are actually kind of threatening. So Ice-T needs to be careful. I guess he's going to charge it. Mr. Oso getting 2 camel conversions, but losing his camels. But it does look like Mr. Oso is going to win this fight. Now, who got, better value out of the fight? I think Mr. Oso got slightly better value, but it's not decisive because Mr. Oso also lost 2 monks from that, and these are Byzantine trash units. Not trash units, but counter units, which are cheaper. And maybe the point for Ice-T was just to delay so that his monk could pick up some relics. Maybe he doesn't even really care that much. Alright, let's do a villager check. Ice-T with 71 versus Mr. Oso's 93. So Mr. Oso has about a 20 villager lead over Ice-T. But it looks like Ice-T is actually going to get a bunch of relics. He's bringing in 2 right now. And, oh, this is really lucky for Mr. Oso. It looks like Ice-T just misses this. Ice-T has the ability to shut this down But for whatever reason, his scout is just kind of loitering over here. So there's one relic for Mr. Oso right now, and it looks like he's going to get a second relic. And then there's another relic right here, and Mr. Oso deciding this is a great place to build a castle, and he's going for this relic here too. So is Ice-T. It looks like Mr. Oso is just going to get there slightly faster. Yep. And Ice-T going to lose his monk. So a little bit of luck, though, for Mr. Oso, because this scout just let the monk walk right by. Ice-T was just slightly out of position to intercept. I don't even know why he moved his scout up here, either. He was originally looking at the relic. Alright, so castle drop from Ice-T. That's very interesting. Ice-T on his way up to the Imperial Age. So is Mr. Oso. But there's too many... They both kind of have the same idea. There's too many skirmishers here, so Ice-T is just going to build his castle here. I would build this castle right here. I would delete these two houses and just build it right here. But he's going to build it in a forward position that secures the gold, which is not bad either. Could be that that's the reason he's a 2K player and I'm not. Because this is actually objectively a better castle position. Alright, so Mr. Oso finding out about this castle by taking a face full of arrows on that converted camel. And Mr. Oso Imperial Age queues up a few trebuchets from this castle and this castle to deal with Ice-T. And it looks like he's going into light calves and he's getting the armor for the skirm. So he's making light cav and skirmisher. Which is a kind of an unusual choice. And I don't know what Ice-T is going into. Ice-T is an Imperial Age. What's the plan? Chemistry, bracer. Okay, Mr. Oso getting chemistry as well. Trebuchets rolling forward for Mr. Oso. The trebuchets have a hill disadvantage, so they will deal less damage to this castle, but probably still a fair amount of damage. Mr. Oso, he's actually, what? He's packing the trebuchets up and he's moving out. He does not want to attack the castle yet. He's going to perform a tech switch into some infantry, it looks like. Which is interesting. It seemed like Mr. Oso had an advantage there. But he didn't really want to push it. Ice-T getting heavy plow. Two-man saw. He's not really building up his military at all. I don't see it. Maybe he is, and its display is limited. No, he's just making villagers. He's adding another town center. And he's housed. He's also adding another stable. It's probably going to be camels. Second armor upgrade for Chinese. Chinese can tech switch very easily. It's one of the advantages of Chinese. Heavy camel for Ice-T. So it is going to be camel and skirm for Ice-T. Makes sense. So it's a solid... It does not have many weaknesses. It just dies to Halb and Siege. Now Ice-T has a cannon here. He's got a trebuchet of his own. Alright, looks like Mr. Oso is deciding that now is the time to launch an attack. Oh, what the? Fire Lancers. That's kind of like their unique unit, I guess. It's like their special version of Halberdier. The Skirmisher's just taking down a trebuchet. I don't know if Ice-T's castle can survive this or not. I don't think so. It is a Byzantine castle, though. And the cannon is doing work. The cannon has 6 dedicated repairmen. But the cannon is still doing work. Is Ice-T going to keep this castle alive? This is insane. There was like 6 trebuchets that showed up. Seems like he's trying to focus down the trebuchets just to buy himself some time. These are Byzantine skirmishers, so they're dirt cheap, really. And another trebuchet goes down, and Mr. Oso packing up the last one to leave. Ice-T is delayed. He took some time setting up these bombard cannons, and I was skeptical, but they paid off. They destroyed like 2/3 of the trebuchets that Mr. Oso sent forward, and the remaining third were destroyed by concentrated skirmisher fire and the occasional camel scimitar. So that was a pretty good defense there from Ice-T. Byzantines are very good at defending. He's under a lot of pressure from Mr. Oso, and Mr. Oso is going to start coming in at this angle here. And I don't know if Mr. Oso has the stone for another castle, but building one here would be pretty devastating. Ice-T is going to build the castle. Alright, well, that'll work out really well for Ice-T, I think. He does not want Mr. Oso stealing his gold here. Castle will shore up this defense. Mr. Oso also building a castle in this location. He's very aggressive against his opponent. Let's take a look at the population here. Ice-T is up to 162 population. He's got 121 villagers. And let's see where Mr. Oso is at. Mr. Oso is at about 160 as well. He's switching into Cavaliers now. So Cavaliers will be very good against these skirmishers. They still need one more armor upgrade. The Chinese get all the armor upgrades for their cavalry. And I think Ice-T had just rolled over here to deal with this castle. And Mr. Oso, sensing that his opponent was under-defended, is now sent a trebuchet here. So Ice-T's got to go back and repair the castle. Ice-T probably sees the... Yeah, he definitely sees these by now because he's Byzantines and he has free town watch and town patrol. So he knows... Yeah, he knows all about these Cavaliers. So he will probably be pumping out more camels to defend against that. He's trying to get this cannon in position to deal with this trebuchet. But there's this archery range blocking. I think this castle will finally go down. But he was able to clear out this castle here and secure this location. Cannonball comes out. These Cavaliers will destroy that bombard cannon. And now this trebuchet is almost dead. Somebody needs to come forward and throw a single javelin at that trebuchet. But nope, no time. And the castle does go down. So Ice-T not getting the best of fights here. The cavalry have swept in behind these camels. These camels are tearing through the front line. Maybe Ice-T is not too worried about it because it's closer to his reinforcement point. But still, a lot of villagers and siege weapons and skirmishers dying here to these Cavaliers. And Ice-T's offensive here has been shut down. Ice-T's production queue looks pretty typical for Byzantines. He's at about 150 population. Let's look at Mr. Oso. Mr. Oso is pop-capped. So Mr. Oso definitely has an advantage. But kind of as I predicted, this castle did go down. But it also sort of bought him time, too. So you could make the argument it was still a worthwhile castle. So we saw the Fire Lancers, but they didn't really do very much. Maybe they did more than it looked like they did. So Ice-T is tracking these Cavaliers running into the back of his base. So he's interested in riding out to meet them. while he allows his skirmishers to do the grind. Mr. Oso looking for some damage. Looking to do a raid. Let's see what Ice-T's population is at. He's at 165, so he's actually gaining in population. Even though Mr. Oso is gaining territory, Ice-T is gaining in population. So with the raid cleaning up, Ice-T headed back here with the camels. Camels don't last long against the pike, though. And I told you this at the beginning, that camel skirm is the best thing that that Ice-T can make against everything that Mr. Oso can make except Halb Siege. And right now we've got Halb Siege. We've got Siege Rams and Halberdiers closing, and Camel Skirm can't really deal with that. So to stop this, Ice-T would have to make Siege and infantry of his own. It might be too late, though. We'll see. But Ice-T has not really teched into Halberdiers at all. I think he might be regretting that now. He does have some light calves. Oh, he's almost out of gold, too. And this is looking like it's Mr. Oso's game. Yeah, Mr. Oso starting to tear across Ice-T's placid farmland. And Ice-T calling the GG. Overrun. Ultimately beaten by, well, combination of everything, but it was the Halbs that really did it, because then his camels couldn't dive. The Halb and the Siege, with occasional raiding cavalry here or there. The Chinese defeating my beloved Byzantines. Mr. Oso also having a relic advantage too from the Castle Age engagements. GG, well played. Let's take a look at the statistics. Mr. Oso, VC8 with 381 kills, 304 deaths, raised 17 buildings and lost only 2 of his own and converted 3 units. Had a bigger eco across the board, not a surprise. Better advancement times across the board, also not a surprise. More castles, more relics, more villagers. Yeah, Ice-T had a nice hold. Maybe things would have been different for him if he had gone a different unit composition, but Camel Skirm is pretty reliable most of the time. Alright, canals. Japanese versus Bengalis. Let's go. So Canals was made by Zetnus for this community. And I want to say that this map as well, I think really all of them, or most of them, were remade by the devs. But I really liked how this one came out for Alchemy League. We've got some hills here. With the one that was remade by the official devs, there's like a weird sort of island in the middle of the canals that they all sort of converge to. This one has a little bit more of a classic organic canal feel, while still improving on some of the fairness. You know, the original canals might just be like completely bald here, no trees. Or there would be fish that were all on one side of the canal. So Zetnus definitely put some great improvements forward on this one. So we got Ice-T playing as the Yellow Bengalis. He is in at 1 o'clock. And then we have Mr. Oso VC8 6 hours away, playing at 7 o'clock. The Gray Japanese. Both popular civilizations on this map. Let's look at the Bengalis. It says they're an elephant and naval civilization. Their town centers spawn 2 villagers after advancing in age, which is just ridiculous. The melee mounted units are +2 attack versus skirmishers. Their monks +3/+3 armor. Their ships regenerate 15 HP per minute. And their elephant units ignore 25% of incoming bonus damage. And they resist conversion. It's just crazy. I think this Civ is OP. But if you ask me. But they're not terribly popular. But they're popular in Alchemy League. And the Japanese are famous for their faster working fishing ships, their tankier fishing ships, the fact that their mills and mining camps and lumber camps are half the cost, and their infantry attacking faster. The Japanese are original to this game. They've been here since the Age of Kings. Bengalis are new with the Indian expansion. Ice-T just pushing in his deer. So I'm wondering what the plan is going to be. We've got 4 on wood for Ice-T, which is not a surprise. For Mr. Oso, we have 5 on wood. So it seems that Mr. Oso's got a pretty big naval plan going on. Usually you send a lot more villagers to wood if you're planning on making ships. He's brought in his final board. He's just got 1 more deer to worry about, so Mr. Oso will harvest the deer. I've seen players build their docks forward like this. It kind of helps them enclose the canal somewhat. I think that's their rationale for doing it. Enclose the canal and you at least keep your fishing ships safe. I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Oso built another dock on the other side to block that in. Looks like there's a deep fish or 2 up here. Actually, Mr. Oso without any deep fish. I'm just looking here. Looks like he's got mostly shallow fish. There are some deep fish in this location. That could be a slight advantage for Ice-T. Got a little bit better of a map. Although his golds are both forward. His stones are backish. Mr. Oso's got a backish gold and a backish stone. So he's got more secure mineral resources, but probably inferior fishing opportunities. Just passing. So the reason that there were no hills on the original canals map is because the section of the script that carves these channels takes place after terrain layering and after elevation generation. So that means that on the original canals map, if there were hills, the hills would be put down first, and then this canal could just go right over the hill, and there's like nothing stopping that from happening. But we found a loophole to assure that these channels form without intersecting the hills at all. So it was quite nice. Now you can't really do dense hills because then the canal will have no place to cross because there won't be any space that's at 0 elevation and approximately this wide that it can get through. But nevertheless, you at least do some. And having some hills is definitely good because it makes... The reason that it's important is because it makes scout fights more interesting. Right? In a situation, on a map like Arena, for example, that has no hills at all, whoever gets the first hit with their scout will win that scout fight. Assuming all other things being equal, like assuming the same advancement times, etc. Because you can't micro your scout back to get a hill to take a hill advantage. And Ice-T is going to encounter those militia. So he's going to know that Mr. Oso is probably man-at-arms rushing him. And Japanese man-at-arms are no joke. They're very dangerous. They attack quite quickly. So we're probably seeing Ice-T. Yeah, he rushes up the rest of these walls. He's looking to claim the rest of this area with walls. He's the Bengalis. I don't know what his plan with Bengalis is, except that he's built 2 docks, so he's probably planning on going water. And as we guessed, Mr. Oso has built a second dock here to zone off this area to keep the fire ships from getting back and killing his 4 fishing ships. So it's like keeping 4 villagers alive by using an extra dock. Alright, so this side is walled off. And Mr. Oso, he could try to chisel his way in, or he might go around. Now, there is some danger with going around. In a way, you could argue that this channel cuts the map in half, and that in order to be safe, Mr. Oso would have to go all the way back to his base and then back around to truly, fully be safe. This is kind of sloppy, though. Is Ice-T just going to let Mr. Oso in like that? He's got a wood line here. Yeah, you can't fight the Japanese man-at-arms. Don't even try. Villagers just go down so fast. There's 2 villagers down. 3 villagers down. 4 villagers down. That is a disaster for Ice-T. So 4 villagers down from my count total for those 3 man-at-arms and that scout. So Mr. Oso is probably thrilled with that. He's like, that was totally worth it. So Ice-T is going to have to make some real magic happen now in order to come back, because his opponent is 2k3, right? His opponent is no joke. His opponent's very challenging. I'm not. Yeah, I don't know what. I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened. Seemed like I originally, at first, I saw it was like, okay, is he going to quick wall and then try to trap the units? What's the plan here? I guess he was just distracted, which happens to all of us. All right, so here it is. Ice-T knows that he is in trouble, right? He's behind. He lost 4 villagers in that raid, and he needs to make something happen. Well, there's 4 villagers right here. He knows that Mr. Oso is probably pretty satisfied. Mr. Oso is probably not going to make any more military. He's probably satisfied with the damage done. So now, Ice-T is going to build a dock here. Mr. Oso does have 2 archers, though. So Ice-T is probably not going to be able to get away with this dock. He's building it pretty quickly. Here come the archers to try and stop him. I think that this dock will be denied. He's built a second dock here. Dock blocking, they call it. And he deletes it. Gives up on it. He's going to have to find some other way of playing in a risky manner. Ice-T building a market. I think he's going to try to get up to the castle age. So I was mistaken. It looks like Mr. Oso is going to continue to make military, or at least some military. He was lucky to have these archers to deny that dock. He's gating off this area, and he's going to finish his wall. And it looks like he's coming up this way because he thinks that Ice-T is less defended on this side. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not true. I don't know. Seems like Ice-T has got about equivalent defenses on both sides. And Ice-T just idling the town center a little bit, and then he's going to click up to the castle age. So what of Mr. Oso? Mr. Oso is not ready yet. Mr. Oso spent more resources on feudal age than Ice-T did, and he really punished Ice-T very hard. Look at the score difference. So Ice-T is exactly 4 villagers behind Mr. Oso for that reason. We got a Jaguar here helping out Ice-T a little bit. Here comes Mr. Oso with a raiding party. Unfortunately for Mr. Oso, Ice-T has walled. So these archers are not going to be able to get in. At least not easily. Gonna look for another way. Wonder if what Ice-T is making. He's gonna make a galley. Alright. That's an interesting choice. You know, I always like, he gets here and he can't get in, and then he's going to go all the way back to his base because you just can't trust that this area is clear of demos, right? Even if you don't see them, they could be inside of the dock. Alright, I guess he feels a little bit more secure crossing right here because it's right next to his docks. What does Mr. Oso have in his docks, actually? He has... See, Mr. Oso is thinking about it in terms of demolition raft. Like, he has demo rafts here. And he probably assumes that his opponent has demo rafts as well. Which is funny. That's why you see him take these massive detours to get to the other side. Just takes forever. So Ice-T is in Castle Age now. He's made a couple of galleys, and he's upgraded them to War Galley. And what's the plan for Ice-T? The plan is to build the castle on his gold. Now, Mr. Oso could spot this and maybe pick off a few more villagers. Here he comes. That villager manages to escape. These warships would love to help, but they can't. So Ice-T microing back the weak villagers. Still trying to get this castle up. So you go forward. Oh, one villager does go down. I bet Mr. Oso is pretty happy about that. And he's, for the most part, Ice-T is doing a good job of microing back his weak villagers. Sending new villagers forward. Just got to get this castle up. Alright, the castle goes up at the cost of, I think, 2 villagers. So now, what is Ice-T making? He's going to make those Ratha units, I think. Let's see. I hear that they're pretty powerful. Oh no! Okay, lucky for Ice-T that Mr. Oso pathed in this way first and couldn't quite get to these foundations. Yeah, here's the Ratha. The Ratha actually goes down to concentrated archer fire. Just garrison. Just garrison. Ice-T adding another town center here. And he's got, looks like he's got quite the navy here too. And Mr. Oso has ejected his demolition ships. There could have been a little brawl that we missed. Alright, Ice-T trying to get in. He definitely has to make something happen. He's behind Mr. Oso. Mr. Oso's added a second town center as well. It looks like Mr. Oso is about to add a castle too. Look at all these villagers going forward. Let's check Mr. Oso's resources. Nope, it's not a castle, it's a town center. That could be a mistake. I don't think Ice-T will go more than 2 town center. Ice-T coming back to deal with these knights. He's going to shoot them with the ships. These are Japanese knights. Japanese are not really known for their knights, but they get fully upgraded knights in the Castle Age. And Ice-T preparing a demolition ship just for these knights. Boom. That was a good shot. That was not really a good shot. That was a low HP knight. But he got him. He got them all. Without losing a single galley. Just 2 demolition ships. So the demolition ships did their jobs. Yeah, I think Ice-T needs to push in with the ships. He needs to push in with the Rathas. If Ice-T could drop a castle like right here, it could be very painful for his opponent. But I don't think Mr. Oso would ever allow it. He would stop it. Let's see what Ice-T's resources look like. But it's definitely... It's on Ice-T to make something happen this game. He's building a monastery back. I think he should build a transport ship if he wants to move this monk across the map. Mr. Oso has something in this dock. Let's see what it is. It is a fire ship. Alright, and Mr. Oso going to build a castle here. So the castle will prevent Ice-T from moving in and threatening his town using the channel. However, Ice-T could still take the docks down, and I think he will. So Mr. Oso will probably just build a dock here and take these oysters with the ships after losing these 2 docks. Alright, Ice-T trying to get in, but deciding, nah, you know, I'm taking too much damage to my Ratha, and even if I broke this gate down, I wouldn't be able to get in and do anything because there are Japanese cavalry archers now. Oh, that's right, the Japanese are a cavalry archer civ now. Don't ask me why, I don't get it. Alright, so Mr. Oso is building a university so that he can get ballistics for the cavalry archers. Makes a lot of sense. Cavalry archers, you know, they're a lot about run and hit. Actually, no, hit and then run in that order. So, because they're running around, launching a lot of arrows, being all sneaky and you know, cavalry archer things, they got to be able to shoot accurately. So that's what ballistics is all about. So Ice-T wants this relic. The Ratha are coming in to push the cavalry archers back. I think the Ratha should go range mode themselves. Mr. Oso is certainly going to see this monk trying to make a getaway with the relic. Ice-T drops it. You know what would be interesting is if the monks were a little bit faster without the relics and the same speed with them. And a competing castle drop. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Mr. Oso sees this castle, he knows it's coming in, and he drops a castle of his own. I think both castles will go up. And Ice-T getting a cavalry archer conversion. Now this is just crazy. So Ice-T just realizing that this castle exists now. He might still destroy the fishing ship though. He does manage to destroy it. At the cost of his entire navy. Let's take a look at Ice-T's resources. Okay, he's already on his way up to Imp. This is exactly what he needs. He's got a forward position with this castle. He's done the damage, I think, that he could have done with his ships. Maybe his opponent... Oh, I love this transport ship here. Maybe the monk actually used that transport. I'm not sure. Getting around a little bit more swiftly. Now, this castle, however, is an invitation for Mr. Oso to go up to the Imperial Age. So I would not be surprised if Mr. Oso... Yeah, Mr. Oso sells everything, basically, and clicks up himself. So, makes a lot of sense, right? He knows his opponent's got a forward castle on him. He knows his opponent probably has a plan to do all that trebuchet stuff and everything that forward castles do. So he's going to go Imp and he's going to do the trebuchets, but he's going to do it better because he's got 2 castles right next to each other. That's the plan. He's got some of these Ratha left behind. You know, a good way to turn the game around is going mass monks. I think that Ice-T should make a lot of monks. I think that would be the play. He might make like one of them siege elephant things at the siege workshop here. Oh, looks like he's going in for a raid. And that could help him win the Treb War. But Ice-T's thoughts right now should be focused on how can I win the Trebuchet War? Because Ice-T knows that there are 2 castles. The other castle, you know, the other castle shot... Let's see what Ice-T exactly knows, right? The other castle destroyed his ships, and this castle he saw competing as the villagers were building it. So he knows that Mr. Oso is probably going to be up to the Imperial Age shortly after him. So he needs to have a plan to win the Trebuchet War. And I'm curious what that plan is. Okay, that plan is to build another castle of his own on this town center and shut down Mr. Oso's... Well, another part of Mr. Oso's economy. Mr. Oso, I think Mr. Oso was thinking about building another castle of his own. But Ice-T gonna come in here with this armored elephant, which has a ton of pierce armor. And this castle going up prevents the villagers from trying to shank that elephant. And I guess Ice-T deciding it doesn't add value because there are no longer any villagers here. Meanwhile, Ice-T trebucheting this castle. And Mr. Oso going to build a defensive castle in this location. Ice-T should... He really should switch to range mode. Alright, so that's going to be 3 castles for Mr. Oso versus 2 castles for Ice-T. I wonder if cannons are an option. And probably there's another trebuchet rolling in from the back for Ice-T. He's got a back castle. And he'd like to repair this castle, but it's within range of Mr. Oso's castle. So I don't... Oh yeah, he's just losing villagers. So he's just going to destroy the university. So Ice-T going to build another castle, this time on this hill. And he's going to pack up his trebuchets and presumably roll them over here and attack this castle. That's what I would do. It doesn't really have a good opening to attack over here. However, he should consider chemistry and cannon galleons for Ice-T, but I don't know if he has a university. Let's do Control U. Alright, so he's got a market, but if we do Control U, he does not have a university. So his people are ignorant. Ooh, this is an interesting opening. Oh, he's trying to run in there. He's got his own trebuchets, and he's sieging Mr. Oso. He's going to lose another castle. But I think Mr. Oso is going to lose this trebuchet. Which is not really a fair trade when you think about it. So Ice-T losing 2 castles up here, but Mr. Oso losing 2 town centers and like 3 trebuchets. Is it worth it? I don't think so. I don't think it was worth it for Ice-T, but maybe it was. It's a lot of villagers relocated. So Mr. Oso relocating these villagers back here. And he's only on villager production from 2 town centers now. Let's do villager count. Their villager count is actually the same. So now Ice-T is going to withdraw back to his castle. I guess he's satisfied with the damage done. That he's done a sufficient amount of damage at the cost of 2 castles and some of these Ratha units. Galleons moving forward. So Ice-T definitely appears to be investing in Navy. And I think Mr. Oso wants that too. He's building another dock. He recognizes that Navy is a good option. Ice-T building another castle, this time on this hill. And the trebuchets are rolling forward. This is a good like ambush sort of thing. Like if your opponent isn't expecting it, it's a good way to take down an enemy castle just really suddenly. And I don't know that Ice-T knows that Mr. Oso is taking gold over here. Let's see what Ice-T does know. Oh, he does know that, actually. And so now he's going to show up here, and so I think Mr. Oso will just be seeing this now. Yeah, and with the flare that comes from being attacked by a unit popping up around the trebuchets, he sees the castle here. And this is 4 trebuchets, so it's really hard to stop a surprise like that. Mr. Oso sending a bunch of villagers to repair this castle, and that's the only reason it's still alive. But he realizes this castle is going to go down. So he's going to build a bunch of houses instead. And these trebuchets not going forward to engage. I don't know exactly why not. He just has this one castle left. This could be just an example of Mr. Oso not really knowing exactly what his opponent's up to. But Ice-T really does not have that much. But he's making it work on not very much. Alright, so Mr. Oso actually the one to go cannon galleons. And these trebuchets see the cannon galleons, and I guess they decide they're going to fight it? No, they're going to flee. There was an opportunity to kill a trebuchet here, but Mr. Oso pulls back. He's going into cannon galleons, and he's going to build castles along the canal, maybe. Is he going to pick off... No, it goes into the castle. Ice-T building another castle further forward. I think Mr. Oso can't really decide what he wants to do. I think he's kind of a little bit shocked by what Ice-T is doing here. It's kind of like part Navy push, part like Treb sneak attacks, part castle drops. I think it's really kind of throwing him for a loop. And this is a pretty weird strategy. Like, think about it. Like, Ice-T has lost at least 2 castles doing this. He's just dropped a castle on his opponent's 4 trebuchets. So this castle's going to go up and then it goes down about 30 seconds later. Was it worth it? Did it, you know, it tied up these skirmishers perhaps? Ice-T's trebuchets working on this castle. His navy over here flirting with the castle. It's a very, very, very brutal strategy. Cannon galleon time. Ice-T just diving the castle to attack the cannon galleon. What's the plan? Okay, Ice-T is preparing some Bengali light cav. Bengali light cav, ladies and gentlemen. And Mr. Oso doesn't know about it, because the stables were built all back here, and there's a bunch of them. There's 12 stables. So he's getting Mr. Oso to tech into all the units that are good against what he currently has, but not good against what he's making. So here charge the light cav. And the light cav are going to go after the skirm, they're going to go after the trebuchet. And ordinarily you would never really want to make light cav against the Japanese. Their halberdiers are just too devastating. But it works here because Mr. Oso is not prepared for it. Mr. Oso thought that he was doing this whole campy thing where he was fighting castle drops and trebuchets and cannon galleons and things slowly pushing forward, and then he gets suddenly raided. Ice-T kind of come over here on this other side now. And Ice-T apparently has a trebuchet that he wants to roll forward and threaten Mr. Oso from the other flank. Ice-T is definitely in control of this game. He has the map control. He occupies most of the map. Been playing very aggressively. So now what's Mr. Oso do? Well, if I'm Mr. Oso, I think I want to go into Halb, right? He's getting the armor for light cav instead. Wait, what? Oh no, that's Ice-T getting the armor. I was going to say the Japanese don't get the final armor upgrade. Alright, let's switch over to Mr. Oso's point of view to see what his response is. He's got a ton of gold, but he can't really use it. He's taking stone here. I'm wondering if he's going to buy some stone and build a castle. But Ice-T is just everywhere. He's playing like a madman. He's got a bunch of trebuchets, Mr. Oso does. Because he was fighting a trebuchet war, so it made sense. Mr. Oso trying to snipe this trebuchet, but doesn't quite get the kill. There's too many light cavs here. Mr. Oso bringing back a relic to somewhere. Here we go, his monastery. Ice-T coming in from the other side with trebuchets, targeting that monastery. And now Mr. Oso going into Halb, but I think it's too late, right? He controls pretty much nothing. There's no space where he can build a building where Ice-T won't know about it. And this is looking like Ice-T's game. Ice-T losing 4 villagers to a Japanese man-at-arms rush in the feudal age is going to come back and win this with, like, Bengali light cav. Bengali light cav. I can't believe it. This is insane. Alright, Mr. Oso has rallied some fast fire ships. That should help him chase off these cannon galleons, at least for a little while. Keep his center of control here. It looks like he's built another castle to solidify this area. And he has a score lead again. So is Mr. Oso gonna finally push this back? Remember, these are Japanese halberdiers. The Japanese halberdier are no joke, and halberdier actually get bonus damage against ships for whatever reason. I guess maybe it was thought that the pikes were good at poking holes in the side of the ship, and ships don't want to sink. They need to keep a contiguous surface so that water doesn't leak in. So maybe that's why. I'm just trying to imagine the reason. This is one of those funny AoE logic things. Alright, so Ice-T going to come over here on this side and raid with Ratha and Light Cav. And it looks like Ice-T is all in on water, right? He's getting fast fire ship, he's making more galleys, and he's making more light cabs. So just coming over here long enough to destroy this town center, it looks like, and then retreat after Mr. Oso secures this area with Japanese halberdiers, which attack 25% faster or 20% faster. Let's see what it is. 33% faster. It's even better. And we have trebuchets bombarding these ships. Just Alchemy League things, man. Just Alchemy League things. Now this is actually a really good spot for Halberdier to attack these ships because they're on the shallows. Oh no, they're not. Alright, never mind. If they were, it'd be a good spot. Actually, they could still reach these ones. Alright, another light cav raid on this side for the Bengalis. Can't get in though. Mr. Oso is walling it all up. The Halber instead pushing back the trebuchet advance here. Mr. Oso, is he going to keep this castle up? No, because the Ratha are coming in. The Ratha are going to kill the repair villagers. But the Halbs are pushing the ships back. Oh, it's just, the whole thing is just a mess. But Ice-T has taken the score lead again. Alright, so we got Elite Ratha coming forward on the right flank from Ice-T now. This is a pretty vulnerable area, but Mr. Oso has started to assemble some Halberdier here, but he doesn't really have enough to push in. These Ratha are in range mode, so they're better against the Halberdier that way, if they're microed properly. Another light cav raid. The light cav actually have less pierce armor than the Rathas, which is interesting. But they're cheaper, so that's why they come in and raid like this. You know, if they die at this stage in the game, you don't really care. Mr. Oso is at 116 villagers. 53 lumberjacks, 30 food collectors, and 21 idols. Let's take a look at Ice-T's resource count. It looks a lot better. Similar, actually higher villager count. Oh, Mr. Oso making an advance here. So is Ice-T going to be able to kill Mr. Oso before Mr. Oso can kill him? I mean, Mr. Oso has destroyed this castle here. Looks like Ice-T sent some repairmen, but they didn't quite get there in time. But the cost of this offensive from Mr. Oso is that Ice-T is now pushing in on this side, and he's destroyed this castle. So they basically traded castles. They both destroyed a castle from the other one. The problem is that Mr. Oso's castle was defending this area from ships. Whereas this castle wasn't really... I mean, Ice-T already has the water, so this castle wasn't really defending much. So now, probably what will happen is Ice-T will pivot his land military to fighting Mr. Oso here, and then he'll pivot his navy to fighting here. He can literally sail right up to here He's got a cannon galleon, he's got regular galleons, he's got fire ships, he's got demo ships, he's got a bunch of nasty things. And this army composition is such that Light Cav from Ice-T can no longer really threaten this. So I don't know what Ice-T is going to do in response, what he is going to make to deal with this. But he doesn't really seem that worried because he's got naval control, and the Navy is cutting the map in half. So this area is essentially impassable to Ice-T, or to Mr. Oso right now. And we can see that, as predicted, Ice-T has just rolled right up here. He's probably going to come even further forward when he runs out of things to shoot at. Okay, it's skirmishers for Ice-T. That's his answer. He's going to grind Mr. Oso here. Mr. Oso preparing some more barracks. I'm wondering if Mr. Oso is going to go into champions. He doesn't really have any gold, but he does have... Oh no, his monastery was destroyed. So all of his gold he's basically getting from selling. Mr. Oso needs to recover this relic if he can. Maybe build another monastery at the base of his castle or something. The relic is a little dangerously close to these ships, but it's still far enough away that he could probably get it. Mr. Oso's got some archery ranges now, so he's probably going to make Japanese skirmisher of his own. Now that Ice-T's skirmishers are getting oppressive in numbers. Ice-T also has some arbalesters here, too. Mr. Oso with 102 villagers. 36, 30, and 15. Ice-T keeps pushing in. Did he get the... What happened to this relic? We missed that. I think he might have gotten that relic. Or maybe Ice-T got the relic. I'm not sure. Didn't see it. Was too busy watching this front evolve. A couple of boars up here somebody could take for a good amount of food. But Ice-T keeps pushing in on Mr. Oso. Mr. Oso running out of map. He's running out of map. Ice-T with the map control. Using the river smartly. Using the castles to sort of zone off his opponent from expanding into a certain area. To slow down Mr. Oso. Here come the Rathas onto Mr. Oso's woodline. Mr. Oso has some skirmishers to deal with them, and some pikemen. He's built another town center in this location, just trying to survive. Mr. Oso running out of resources. He's got 442 gold left. He's got some trebuchets which he's saving, and he's got one relic. So I think Ice-T did steal that relic. Ice-T now moving in with some two-handed swordsmen, and Mr. Oso calls the GG. Well played. So Ice-T able to take a game off of Mr. Oso, which is pretty impressive. Considering that Mr. Oso is about 200 elo higher than him. So, guys, remember that performance in Alchemy League is not really necessarily calculated by your win rate. It's calculated by dividing the win rate that you actually got by the win rate that you should have gotten based on your opponents. So, we've had players before that have almost won the league with like an actual of 25% win rate. In other words, they lost 3 out of 4 games on average that they played, but maybe they were only expected to win 1 out of 6 or something. You know, they were expected to have lost 5, and they only lost 4. So they still lost the majority of the time, but they outperformed expectations. And so Ice-T will be very happy about this win, because not only is it a win, but it's a win against a tough opponent who will lower Ice-T's projected win rate. So let's take a look at the military. Ice-T with more kills than deaths, raised 68 buildings with his map control, only lost 13, converted 3 units, largest army of 74. He had more food, wood, stone, and gold across the board collected because his economy spent more time in safety. He had better advancements. He had 7 castles, captured 4 relics, got 2k6 relic gold, villager high of 136, and just slowly whittling down Mr. Oso. Mr. Oso had this good tech switch with Halberdier right in this location, but eventually Ice-T was able to overcome that. And it all was looking very badly for Ice-T when he lost 4 villagers to the Japanese man-at-arms rush. So GG, well played to Mr. Oso VC8 and Ice-T. So I'll go in and update the scoreboard. But I did want to go into the editor real quick, and let's just take a look at the official versions that the devs made of these maps. You can tell me which ones you like better. Let's look at Paradise Island first. So tell me if you like Paradise Island better than... Paradise Island, here we go. Better than what we did. So this is what the devs have recently released in a patch. So in this case, it looks like it's crossable, and you have to chop to the relics instead. So it is different from our version. And of course, there's crocodiles and stuff guarding it. But yeah, you can walk across to this. But it's not the most efficient thing in the world, actually, because you can't build. I don't think you can build a lumber camp up against that. Let's see. L, the letter L. Yeah, nope. Long distance. But the good news is these reeds only have like 50 wood in them a piece or something like that. Otherwise, kind of the same course border with the ocean. I think they got rid of the predators. Yeah, it looks like they got rid of the predators along the beach, which is something that we preserved from the original. But it's still pretty. So the second one that we saw was Seasons. I don't know if they did this one. Let's see. I think this is it. So with this one, it's the different seasons from hitting generate. Is it actually always shallow though? I have to run a few generations and see. All right, here's a winter version. So it looks like it's always crossable. Anyway, so this is their version. I think it's somewhat similar to ours, but I think ours is still more similar to the original. All right. So seasons, canals. Oh wait, we need graveyards. That's right. I almost forgot graveyards. So graveyards was the second game that I cast today. Let's take a look at how they did that one. Yeah, so this one's more about like the relics. And they got some ponds, but they're not really worth docking. They're more kind of organic. They're not central with lots of resources in them. Whereas our version has the central pond with the plateaus, the big hills that have lots of graveyards on them. Because you want to build the graveyard on top of the hill, right? Otherwise, when it rains, if it floods, the bodies get all waterlogged and it's kind of disgusting. So that's why they build cemeteries on hills. So you know that they won't get flooded, that you won't have corpse bile or whatever that stuff is leaching into your water supply. that it has to travel through a lot of filtering soil and vegetation and other things before it reaches like a major river or something, like near a well. That's why historically graveyards were built on hills. But I think that for the people, that maybe their understanding wasn't that of sanitation. It was more so being closer to God. It was a religious motivation, but the real benefit was that better sanitation. All right, and then we'll look at canals. It's the last one. So you can see it's kind of got this shallow spot in the center. And the idea is that everybody gets... It doesn't look too different on 1v1, but on larger games, like everybody will get a single channel that goes in toward the center, and not really a network of channels going to each other and such. So, anyway, and it looks like no hills either. Yeah, I don't see any hills. So it's always fun to see what they did differently. Really appreciate you guys tuning in for the cast. I am TechChariot, the host of Alchemy League. We've just watched 4 really good games on 4 maps redesigned by the community. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again soon for the next cast. As always, keep an eye out because we're going to have some announcements pretty soon for the next season of Alchemy League. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Thanks, guys, for being here, and we'll catch you later.